I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
June 7th, Alcatraz is back in business.
A battery of VX gas rockets is presently deployed on the population of the San Francisco Bay Area.
Now, the only way to stop the unthinkable is to get the one man who broke out of the rock.
I have a unique knowledge of this prison facility. I was formerly a guest here.
To lead a chemical weapons specialist.
You're a chemical freak. Chemical super freak.
To break back in. From Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer, the producers of Top Gun and Crimson Tide, and Michael Bay, the director of Bad Boys.
Welcome to the Rock.
Sean Connery.
30 years ago, I vowed I wouldn't die in this toilet.
Nicolas Cage.
All right, I have to do it myself. I got 3 weeks weapons training.
Ed Harris.
Fire.
This summer, get ready.
You enjoying this?
To rock.
That's just about the most awful thing I've ever seen.
The Rock. Rated R.
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review. There's another Patreon review, this time for Broad Stipe, as for The Rock from 1996. And of course, that's because Sean Connery passed away. May he rest in peace. I know I didn't do an actual video on it, but I figured with the little tribute for Outland, my favorite Sean Connery film. And by the way, real quick, if those interested in requesting reviews, re-reviews, topics, reactions, pretty much any type of video, you just send the request directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, The Rock. Sean Connery, before I go into the movie, very talented guy. He had charisma and then some. Of course, his time as James Bond. But to be perfectly honest, I did not grow up with him as James Bond. With Sean Connery, I grew up with him more as Indiana Jones' dad in The Last Crusade, or Outland, or The Rock, or films of that nature. And that's where I remember Sean Connery more from. But very talented actor, just great charisma. He was in The Untouchables, which I reviewed long ago, among others. He's been in some bad films too, but he wasn't the issue. Like Meteor, that's not a good film, but he wasn't the issue of that with that film. There's The Avengers, not the Marvel Avengers, the other one where he's dressed like a fucking Teletubby or one of the gummy bears. If you don't know what I mean, just look up The Avengers from the 90s, and there's a scene where everyone's dressed in a fucking bear suit, like a red, green, yellow bear suit, and Sean Connery has a suit on. I'm going, you retired because of Leader Extraordinary Gentleman, but you were fine with this? I don't get it, but hey, that's what happened. Which, funny enough, one of the requests I got is The Leader of Extraordinary Gentlemen, so that'll be sometime this month. which I'm curious of revisiting that one. But Sean Connery, he will be greatly missed. And the fun thing about this film, whenever you see this film again, do this, because I think this is a very entertaining way to view The Rock. View The Rock as if it's the last Sean Connery James Bond film. It kind of works. Because he plays a character who was sent to Alcatraz in 62, escaped in 63. Dr. No debuted in the 60s. So you just say, granted, just because that's the release date it came out, that doesn't mean that's when the movie takes place. I mean, hell, look at Escape from New York. Escape from New York came out in 1981 or so, but that took place in 1997, the future 1997. But, you know, the film looks like it's in the 60s, so you say, yeah, he was part of British intelligence, he got in jail, Alcatraz, he escaped, he went back to MI6, and then, when did his James Bond end? Officially, Diamonds Are Forever in the 70s. Because Never Say Never Again, the 80s is an unofficial James Bond film. It's unofficial as part of the canon. That was something else entirely. And, you know, they always say, they make the inclination that James Bond is not his real name, that's a code name. That's why, you know, so many different actors play him. And if you look down that stature, it's like, okay, Diamonds Forever, sometime after that, he got caught, recaptured. He has this microfilm, which I can believe James Bond had on all the secrets, whether it be the JFK assassination or everything else. And this is James Bond's, and maybe Mason, maybe that's his real name, or maybe that's another fake name, you know, part of British intelligence, and this is James Bond's last go-round. And I think that would be that's really cool to think about. That, you know, you love James Bond, you know, Sean Connery, and I grew to the reviews are not up anymore, but there was a time where I reviewed all the James Bond films, and I like quite Sean Connery's. I like Dr. No, I liked Goldfinger, and I like Diamonds Are Forever. From Russia with Love and Thunderball, I wasn't really into, but I like Sean Connery himself in it. He wasn't the problem. But again, when you watch the film, think of it as the epilogue of James Bond's, Sean Connery's James Bond. And with all the time he was fucked, he probably has a illegitimate, a daughter of some type. And by the end, he's free, and he's free from everything, and living his life, enjoying his life. And it's a great way to think of Sean Connery's James Bond. So I think he gets to be a badass and kick ass one last time. So like I said, I'm digging this hole and burying it up to my head to really get the point across. When you watch this film again, watch it in the viewpoint of Sean Connery's James Bond in his last go-round. It's pretty damn entertaining. It's pretty fun. But even without that, it's a very fun film. Like The Rock is one of those movies that even if people who hate Michael Bay, they go, but I like The Rock. Like, I hate Michael Bay, but I like The Rock. So good that even Michael Bay, and granted, I get pissed off at Michael Bay a lot too, mainly his producing bullshit, like when he produced those piece of shit Ninja Turtle films, which are the worst movies in existence in my opinion, or close to it at least. But I like his direction of Bad Boys, which he did before this. I like Bad Boys 2. I like The Island. Armageddon. To be fair, I don't hate Armageddon. It's just that's something I love either. You know, there's fun to be had in Armageddon. And yeah, I would say I don't hate Armageddon, but just there's other Michael Bay films I enjoy more. Pain and Gain I even liked. I don't like all the films he's directed, but you know, Six Underground, a lot of people didn't like it. I had fun with Six Underground. I had a lot of dumb fun in its big action set pieces and Ryan Reynolds. I thought that was a fun, dumb movie. This one, it has a cool idea. What if Alcatraz, it's now a tourist attraction, with a bunch of people, former military, take it over, and this team goes in, this Navy SEAL team led by Michael Biehn, hits himself, but the team gets killed, and now all that's left is Sean Connery, who is a former inmate and knows the area, but he's also former British intelligence, former 007 in my opinion, and Nick Cage, who is a chemist, which I read up, apparently Arnold Schwarzenegger was the first choice for it, but he said no. Granted, it'd be interesting to see Arnold and Sean Connery together, but part of me would go, well, if you have Arnold, then people go, well, why do you need Sean Connery kicking ass if you have Arnold? Like, would I buy Arnold as a chemist, but he doesn't know how to kick ass? So I'm not sure that'd be the right choice for that. And Nick Cage does a good job. He's a quirky, you know, like a lot of Nick Cage characters, he's a quirky guy who doesn't even want to curse. I think he finally curses when he does eventually shoot someone and kill someone, but before that, he's a guy who doesn't want to curse, says friggin', you cut me some friggin' slack. And this was the start of Nick Cage doing action films, which you would have Con Air, which I love, and others. Ed Harris, who plays the general. I like the idea that the general... This doesn't always work out when you try to do this with villains and try to humanize them. But here I thought that was done the right way. Where he's protesting the government's refusal to pay benefits to families of war veterans who died during covert military operations. And so he gets some nerve gas, takes over with his team of people, where you have David Morse, you have Tony Todd, Candyman himself, among others. And it's like, we got these rockets with this nerve gas, we're going to shoot it into San Francisco if you don't pay us this money. But with Ed Harris, you find out it was pretty much a bluff for him. I think he even says, I'm not about to kill 80,000 people. You think I'm out of my fucking mind? And so again, I think it works, number one, because of Ed Harris's performance. And I like Ed Harris. I think Ed Harris is a great actor. Even in films I think are meh. Like Needful Things, I think is a very meh film. I think Ed Harris is really good at it. He's great in The Abyss. He's great in... I think he was in Stephen King's The Stand, if I can remember. I think he was in that. But 13, anytime I see Ed Harris, I'm like, okay, cool. Very solid actor. And it also works not only because of his performance, but because there are other people who are like, fuck this, we just want the money, screwed 80,000 people. So at least there are people who are more bad guys who just overthrow them or not listen to them. It's not like they're all, nah, this is all bluff. Which to me is more believable, that some people are going to be money, fuck these people, fuck the San Francisco, let's just do it anyway. So that makes it work, makes it easier to swallow. Sean Connery, I thought that did a great job. Takes a little bit for him to appear in the film because like, okay, what are we going to do? Here's this guy. He does not exist, understand? I think this is even a line reference to James Bond, because when Nick Cage goes, I'm Stanley Goodspeed, and Sean Connery, one of the first lines he says is, but of course you are. Actually, that's not one of the first lines, because at first Sean Connery talks to William Forsythe, who's also in this film. And William Forsythe, again, he's not a bad guy. Because William Forsythe can play a great bad guy, but it's nice to see him as a good guy once in a while, whether it be in Blue Street or this movie and others. Because I do think William Forsythe's a good actor. And so, yeah, he's a bit of a hard ass, but he still seems like he cares for Nick Cage's character when he's in there. They share a nice moment or two at the very end of the film, wondering where Sean Connery's character is. It's like he knows Nick Cage's line, but he goes along with it. But I would say when Nick Cage says his name, I'm Sailor Goodspeed, and Sean Connery goes, "Of course you are." I think that's what he says in Diamonds Are Forever. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I've seen that, but I believe that's the case. I don't know if this is true, so forgive me if this is wrong. But I remember hearing at one point that when they first did the film, this whole chase scene with the Humvee and the Ferrari wasn't in the first cut. But then they went back, it's like, oh shit, we need some type of action beat here. Again, that could be absolutely wrong. Because it would have been nice to have like a new documentary on the film, a new making of the film. I mean, I know there's a Criterion with a commentary, but again, it would have been nice to have a new documentary. Unless there is, I completely missed it. Maybe there is, and I just don't remember it. But like new interviews with Sean Connery, new interviews with Nick Cage, like an updated documentary. Because I know Sean Connery was proud of this, because he would say, like, of the 90s, the films he liked the most was The Rock and Entrapment. Those are the two films he liked the most of the films he did in the 90s. So, with the Humvee and the Ferrari chase, it's an entertaining scene, last spectacle. Granted, a lot of time I'm going, man, I'm surprised no innocent people did fucking killed during this entire damn sequence. Almost every fucking car, things exploding, everything. One of those trolleys blows up, it fucking shoots all the way up and all the way down. Big, bombastic, fun, explosion-filled action sequences, like Michael Bay does. And you can tell Nick Cage and Sean Connery didn't do a lot in the scene, because all their scenes are like very up close, as I was shaking of the camera, but very up close. Which makes sense. It'd be hard to put the actors during all that stuff. They're able to find, Nick Cage is able to find him. He's with his daughter. When they get to the Rock, yes, I don't know why the fuck the fucking boilers would still be on. I mean, if it's a tourist attraction, everything's been shut down, why the fuck the boilers would be on? So that maybe you just say that for some reason the military started it up again. I guess you could assume that, but part of it's like, nah, I don't think they really give a shit about the boilers. But it's not like it's fucking freezing weather. We need heat, man. We need some heat. But you know, I just went along with it because it creates a fun sequence where Connery, he knows the time and he rolls through it. Where'd you find this guy? That's classified. Welcome to the Rock. Michael Biehn, it's nice to see him in there. It's too bad he gets killed so early. Part of me wonders what it would have been if Michael Biehn was the Nick Cage role. I mean, I like Nick Cage, but I like Michael Biehn more. So again, part of me is like, I wonder what would happen if you had Michael Biehn in that. That'd be pretty cool. But like I said, Nick Cage does a good job. It's just I like Michael Biehn. I'm just sorry to see him go so early. You learn a little bit more of Sean Connery's backstory, where the one guy goes, he's a British operative who stole the files, but the British never heard of him. I'm like, well, that's kind of what, isn't that kind of what British intelligence did to Pierce Brosnan and Die Another Day? he was captured. It's like, we don't know him. We don't know him. I'm sure that's happened in other movies too. And what makes the film work is the actors do their jobs well. The score, once again, Hans Zimmer, which recently I talked about Days of Thunder. Talked about Hans Zimmer at this time. He was fantastic. Whether it be this, whether it be A Broken Arrow, whether it be Days of Thunder. At the point, the series of films he did in the 90s, even the late 80s, like Black Rain, is why Hans Zimmer became one of my favorite composers. Because he really brought that adrenaline. I mean, there was other people involved with the score, but mainly Hans Zimmer. I really felt that just kick-ass adrenaline pumping tone to the score that Hans Zimmer brought out with films like this. And the score works very well. So well that they kind of reuse a lot of it for, what was it, The Peacemaker with George Clooney. Like, if you listen to the score with the Peacemaker, I do like it, but it's kind of like, okay, let's take shit from The Hunt for Red October and this movie and do the score. I think he did The Hunt for Red October. I can't remember now. But I know he did the score for The Peacemaker after this. For all you people that remember, I actually don't mind The Peacemaker with George Clooney. But yes, this is better. Because they're both action movies where these rockets get taken and kind of this ransom. We'll fire this shit, or we'll make it explode and make people glow in the dark, or worse, if you don't give us your fucking money. But the action scenes are well done. Michael Bay was in his prime in this period, and Sean Connery and Nick Cage worked well together. You get some entertaining lines. Losers always whine about their best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen. And it was cool to see Michael Bay utilize someone like Sean Connery like we've never seen him before. So Sean Connery throws a knife. Okay, you have a shot where then we follow the knife right into a guy's neck. Or Sean Connery shoots the off a guy and then shoots this thing so it comes up and crushes the guy's head. You know, Sean Connery tossed to Ed Harris and saying lines like, personally, I think you're a fucking idiot. And showing Sean Connery's a badass, getting a good body count. And Nick Cage showcasing he grows a bit more balls throughout the film, and he's not a super agent. He's not as capable in action as Sean Connery, but you know, there's a reason for both. Sean Connery's mostly going to do the action. Nick Cage, he's there to find the rockets and do his chemist thing. But Nick Cage has some good moments too, like when he's with Tony Todd. You like Rocky Man with Elton John? I don't care about that soft shit. Well, I'm just saying that it's you. You're the Rocky Man. And shoots off fucking Tony Todd out the goddamn window. And falls and gets his ass impaled. And then Nick Cage is the other guy where he gets one of these. And I thought this looked cool. Granted, it's probably not how it really is, but I thought it looked cool, the design where this chemical, we're in these little balls, and you pick up these green balls, and it's like all linked together. It looks like a weird spine, like if an alien had this weird multi-layered spine. And it's like in this rocket canister, and you put it up, and the way they clinked with each, I don't know, they seem like a cool design to it, and they're able to utilize it. Like one gets loose, you have that shot where the Cage barely gets it in time. That helps create suspense. Or the bad where the guy's trying to kill him, he puts it in the guy's mouth. I forget the line, he says like, eat shit or something, like punches it and breaks into the guy's mouth. I thought that was really cool. And then Nick Cage has to stab this thing into his fucking heart so he doesn't die. And then you have the platoon moment where he gets the flares. I'm sure someone on YouTube would do an alternate ending like, the rockets hit, he dies, and then movie's over, end credits. But thankfully that's not what happens. The ending is satisfying. Nick Cage tells him, oh, Sean Connery died, and Sean Connery was able to escape and live his life as a thank you. Sweet little scene that he thanks him. Is, oh, by the way, if you ever want to go somewhere, go here. I was thinking of Maui. Nah, this is better. And I really like the music at the end where he gets the microfilm with his wife and they drive off. Really fun, exuberant, uplifting score at the very end before the credits. Which is also nice because before they start, it's dedicated to Don Simpson, which he passed away, which is too bad. So in a way, this is the last Bruckheimer Don Simpson production. Dedicated to Don Simpson. Which again, like I said, it's too bad. But, it was a nice touch. And overall, just a fun, entertaining movie with a cool premise. Ed Harris is a villain who's not one note. Played very well. The action sequences, the way Alcatraz is utilized, whether it be in the shower scenes, the mine tunnel trolley system where there's shootouts where each one are in these little trolleys. The jail cells, times where Sean Connery has to get in the bathtub to escape a grenade. They're well handled, well directed. It's not confusing. It's not schizophrenic editing like a Taken sequel. Hans Zimmer's score really elevates the action even more so. Again, the actors do their jobs well. Even the supporting people, it's cool to have oh, there's Tony Todd and there's William Forsythe and Michael Biehn, and again, they're not in the film as much, but the film's not about them. It's about our two leads, so it made sense. And it was also able to showcase that Sean Connery could still be a badass even in his old age at the time. Look to him and just, he could be in a film that was a big box office hit. And this is a year where it was a big year for movies. I mean, you had Independence Day, you had Twister, you had the first Mission Impossible. Pretty big summer for 1996. Damn good summer. So, The Rock, I mean, what more can I say? It's a fun movie, it's an entertaining film. I really don't have a lot of issues with it watching it again. Definitely one of Michael Bay's better films. And like I said, if you look at it in the mindset of Sean Connery's final role as James Bond, like I said, it actually works. And a fitting goodbye for his James Bond, in my opinion. Yes, I know technically that's not what it is, but that's the way I looked at it. So, rest in peace, Mr. Sean Connery, Sir Sean Connery. I actually have a few more Sean Connery reviews requested: Entrapment and Leader of Extraordinary Gentlemen. So those will be coming sometime soon. Definitely sometime this month. So, thank you. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.